Hello, thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rants. Today's episode is going to be titled, Let Them Talk, because as we go throughout life, people are going to have their opinion of us, and there's really nothing that we can do to stop people's opinions of us. People are going to talk regardless, You could act a certain way and people are still going to have their own theories about things. And, people are going to think certain things about you. And I've come to the point where, I don't want to take away people's ability to have an opinion about things. And, I am a huge advocate of, the First Amendment. I think that everyone should have freedom of speech. And freedom of speech also includes things you don't like, When you truly are an advocate of freedom of speech, it has to cover things that you don't like as well. And the things that people say about you, you're not always going to agree with and you're not always going to like. But, I don't think that silencing people is going to make it better. And I would be a huge hypocrite if I'm sitting here talking about how I love people to have freedom of speech and how, I think freedom of speech is so important and how everyone should have it and how it's something that should never be taken away. Like we should never take away freedom of speech. But then, I would be like, oh, but I don't like that person said that about me, or I disapprove of that, so that person needs to be silenced, I actually think the opposite. I think that people should be allowed to say whatever they want about me. And it's good because, when people say certain things about me, I don't have to personally interact with that person. So I think it's really good to know people's, opinions about me. So then I can make an educated, assessment and, decide if I want that person in my life or not. And, the more you try to control others' speech and what they can say and what they can't say about you, you'll find yourself having less and less control. So, it reminds me of a quote in the Medea movie. There's so many of those Medea movies, but I remember in one of the movies, she's like watching after like this foster kid. And she tells the foster kid, she said, let folks talk. People are going to talk about you to the day you die, and there's nothing you can do. It's not what you're called, it's what you answer to, And that's so true. People are going to talk about you regardless, and there's nothing you can do. You can't stop the entire world from talking about you. And she's right. It's not she. Obviously, it's a movie, so it's she, but it's actually a he because it's played by a guy in drag. But in the movie, it's she, so I'll say she. But yeah, like she said, people are going to talk about you. And like I said, you can't stop the entire world from having an opinion about you. And, it reminds me of something that I was thinking about. A president could come out, it doesn't matter what country it is, or a leader could come out of a country and they could literally figure out how to solve hunger for that country. And, they could figure out ways to solve homelessness, drug addiction, hunger, or whatever, homelessness. And, there'd still be people that would have an opinion about other things that leader didn't do, People are always going to have their opinions about you, and they're not always going to be positive. And, let them talk. That's something that I've really had to learn as I've gotten older because, throughout my 20s and in my mid-teens and stuff like that, if someone had an opinion about me and I didn't like it, I would get so mad and so defensive about it. But now as I'm sitting here, I'm thinking to myself, them thinking whatever they think about me, that doesn't change reality. If someone doesn't like me and thinks I'm a bad person or whatever, that doesn't change anything about me. If someone thinks that I'm a bad person or, thinks I've done something wrong or whatever it is, and they think I'm ugly or, it doesn't make it true. So, people can have their thoughts. Their thoughts don't hurt anybody, Actions hurt people, but thoughts don't hurt people, And it's such a liberating mindset to just sit back and just understand that, You can't control the opinion of the world. All you can do is control the opinion of yourself, and you can choose who you want to surround yourself with when it comes to other people's opinions. And that's something that I've had to learn. And as I've let go of other people's opinions about me and just, let folks talk, and like Medea said, they're going to talk about you regardless. And, and you know who you are, you know yourself. So when you know the truth about yourself, or the truth about a situation that people are talking about you or whatever it is, if you know yourself deep down and you can go to sleep with yourself at night, that's all that matters. If you know the truth and their opinion about the truth is not like factual or whatever, and they say all this stuff, it's not true. Again, like, the truth about it, so it shouldn't bother you. But anyways, thank you for listening to this episode of the Moore's October Rant. Signing out. Have a good one, guys.